Did you know the Bible, specifically the Torah, contains 613 laws? Some are famous, others downright shocking. In this quiz, you'll have to decide true or false. Was this law really in the Bible? Let's test your Torah knowledge. Here's question 1, true or false. If two men are fighting and the wife of one grabs the other man's private parts to protect her husband, her hand must be cut off. Correct answer. True, Deuteronomy 25:11 through 12. A very real law in ancient Israel, intended to preserve modesty and dignity, even during violent conflict. Question 2, true or false. It is illegal to plow a field with a donkey and an ox yoked together. Correct answer, true. Deuteronomy 22:10. God's law often emphasized balance and fairness, even between animals. Question 3. True or false? Thou shalt not eat a cheeseburger, mixing meat and dairy is forbidden. Correct answer, false. While Exodus 23:19 says not to boil a young goat in its mother's milk, the full dairy meat ban comes from later rabbinic tradition, not the Torah. Question 4. True or false? Men were forbidden from trimming the edges of their beards. Correct answer, true. Leviticus 19:27. This law helped set the Israelites apart from pagan grooming rituals. Question 5. True or false? You cannot wear clothes made from both wool and linen. Correct answer, true. Deuteronomy 22:11. A symbolic separation. God even gave laws about garments to teach purity and order. Question 6, true or false? Women had to cover their heads with a scarf when entering the temple. Correct answer, false. There is no law in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, that requires women to wear head coverings when entering the temple. This idea is often confused with New Testament cultural teachings, particularly 1 Corinthians 11:5 through 6, where Paul discusses women covering their heads while praying or prophesying. This was a cultural practice in Corinth, a Greek city, meant to reflect modesty and respect within that society. Paul ties it to tradition and symbolism, not a Mosaic command, and certainly not a temple requirement. In fact, Old Testament women like Hannah, 1 Samuel 1, entered the temple to pray, and no mention is made of a head covering law. Temple entrance laws in the Torah are extremely specific, covering ritual purity, sacrifice offerings, etc., but do not include anything about women needing scarves or veils. Bottom line, while head coverings were common in ancient times for practical and cultural reasons, they were not commanded by God in the Torah as a legal requirement for women at the temple. Now, some might point to Numbers 5:18, where a priest uncovers a woman's head during a ritual for suspected adultery. But that's not about modesty. It's part of the soteh ceremony, a unique trial law. Even this moment shows that head coverings were cultural, not commanded by God's law. Remember, friends, this is a law-based true or false question, and no such law exists in the Torah. Question 7. True or false? If you touched a dead animal, you became unclean until evening. Correct answer, true. Leviticus 11:24-28. Touching a dead carcass required a purification, even if accidental. Cleanliness laws were extensive and symbolic. All right, it's time to tally your answers. How many laws did you get right? 4, 6, all 7? Comment your score below. The Bible is full of details, and some shocking, some beautiful. Thanks for playing Divine Trivia. Subscribe for more quizzes like this and let us know in the comments if you want a part 2. Until next time, stay curious and stay faithful.